Greetings, everyone. A.M Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. I don't know how the weather is where you are, but it's raining, day and night. A couple bits of sun here and there. But the problem is, I try to do all my filming at nighttime, and I haven't been able to get out there at all. So cloudy. But here's the thing, a lot going on. We'll get into it. Got any questions, please ask. Make sure there is some kind of importance to them. But yesterday morning, I got up to take a garbage bag and put it in the garbage outside. It was real cloudy. It was about before sunrise, so it was still dark. Readings. And I just looked up to the sky, and there was a couple breaks in the sky. And what do you think I see? A light ship going in and out of the clouds, cruising across the sky really fast. Not a satellite. Satellites can't travel that low, can't travel that fast. And guess what? They're not balls of light either. If they were that low, they wouldn't be reflecting light off the sun, if that's what you believe. All right, people? You know, there's so much stuff going on in Hawaii about UFOs. Not publicly, but I mean, luckily on the news, a couple days ago, they showed a UFO over Hawaii. Over 500 people called in. I do my show on truth only. No lies, no stories. The truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. And I believe in God. So yeah, that's who I'm responsible back to. All right. I hope you read the title today. And I don't know if you know what the word sheeple means. It means people living like sheep, being corralled, pushed around, shoved, and then they get eaten. All right. You know, they don't want to talk about the real truth in the UFO world, which is pretty sad. Nobody. And the people in the UFO world make up stories, create stories, and change them into really ridiculous things. So, like I said, the way it's going to go down, I'm going to start somewhere and work my way around all these things I want to get into today. But the word sheeple is basically what I'm going to say is probably the most important word for people out there. Now, just about everything you hear, I can't get my screen just lined up here. What's the story here? Give me one more second. All right, hopefully that's it. Just about everything you hear on the news or wherever you want, it's twisted. It's not the whole truth. It's part of the truth. It's missing so much important information. And I mean, that's why people do not really care about the truth. And that's why I'm saying they should be called sheeple. I mean, yeah, Trump's a person that's trying to come back as a president. Now, there's good and bad things. Everybody does. But when the bad outweighs the good, or the bad is bad, we shouldn't be thinking about a person like that at all. Yeah, people say, well, he did this, he did that. Well, I could tell you a bunch of things. What he did to the native people. The whole story around that is crazy and ridiculous. And he's so full of it. All right. But when he was responsible for that event, and well, he says he wasn't. First off, he was president. He could have stopped it instantly if he wanted to. Second of all, two days before that, he was on and he said, this is going to be the worst upheaval, change in history. And he said that in his own words. Why would he say that? He knew it was happening, and he didn't prepare, didn't have the army stationed around it or anything close to it. He was supposed to march with them, and they wouldn't let him. I mean, he had a lot of things going on, people, which means he was completely involved. I really hope he gets what he deserves. What God grants him and whatever. Now, see, in this physical world, people deal with Lucifer. That's in their minds, okay? Satan controls the lower world, not Lucifer. But most people accept Satan in an unconscious way. They'll accept the gifts from him, and they'll be stuck on this planet, which is not a pleasurable thing. But you could believe whatever you want. Oh, this is beautiful. Because you didn't experiencing anything really incredible. And there's many things to experience in the inner worlds that God created that we can go to later on as we move forward spiritually, which there are no spiritual people on this planet, no matter what they say. Now, you can listen to the lies. I'm going to go into a lot of different things today. The truth is the truth. Liars can change their story over and over, but it never becomes the truth. Aliens are not here to help us. Why do people think they are? When they tell us there's no alien ships in the sky, what do you think it is? A Russian ship? A Chinese ship? I mean, the big to-do today and yesterday and every day for a couple of days is a balloon. Now, China is getting mad at us and, oh, it was an accident that our balloon went over you. Really? It's like saying if their jet came over the United States, it wouldn't be an accident. It would be an act of war. Well, we'll get into, I don't want to get into too many things outside of the topic, but the prices here, 18 eggs cost $13 here. A gallon of milk is between $9 and $10. So yeah, prices are going crazy. No matter what they say, with the chicken problem going around the United States, the egg prices are going to keep going up, and who knows how it's going to end, because the bird flu, it happened in Jersey when I was working in the phone company. They said it could only affect certain birds. Well, I worked outside. I was on the pole half of the day, every other day, and things like that. I saw dead birds on the roof everywhere, around the telephone poles and wherever they hang out or stuff, they were dying. So nothing was ever done about it. They said it could only affect certain birds. It was affecting the eagles even. So, they tell you what they want. During that time frame, there was something else going on in the United States. Herds of deer, elk were dying. Herds, not one, two, herds. Linda Moulton Howe, who claims to be a real, well, she doesn't claim, she pretends, or she makes people think she's the most incredible speaker out there on Bigfoot. She's been involved with that for 40 years. And cattle mutilation and all that. But basically, she's been on coast to coast every month for, I don't know how many years, 3 centuries, whatever. But she would always talk about cattle mutilation. But she has zero proof and understanding of what's really going on. And that's pretty sad. All right. I mean, you spend 5 years or 10 years on something. Hopefully you have proof and evidence of whatever you're doing. I mean, if you want to believe in a unicorn, a guy spent half of his life proving that they're real. I mean, even the mermaids. There's 3 videos out, movies, documentaries online, on the internet, that were on TV, that actually show you them. And the government filmed one. And they're trying to say it was a seal or something weird. But you could see its face. You could see it had this weird kind of thing. But the truth is there, always. But what you get fed about it is the lies. All right. Now, when you listen to these people go on about the UFO world, what are they talking about? Well, I heard this and I heard that. I believe this. I heard and I believe. 2 words are not factual, not provable. All right. They're ideas. Man created, man stories told. So when I go online, I open a challenge to every single person in the UFO world or the spiritual world as well for a live debate. Anywhere, their show, my show. But people are... I don't know if it's blacking out on your end, but my camera keeps blacking out for about maybe 10 seconds. So these people will not deal with me because they're afraid. The truth will always override the lies in the end. I mean, put the truth out there, it doesn't change the world instantly. But in time, the truth slowly happens. All right. Why Buddha came, he had his teachings. Why Jesus was here, he had his teachings. But there were different people. Every spiritual person that people say are spiritual have their own truth to bring out. But is it beneficial for the whole human race? And will it change it? Well, if you got people, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, all right, they have their teaching. It's very similar. Living in the moment, living in the now, and all that kind of stuff. Buddha talked about being in the dream. Jesus talked about living in a real world, trying to get back to God. All right, separate ideas completely. Believing that Earth is important, believing that you're protected is another story. Jesus didn't come here to save you, sorry, yes. Whether you want to believe that or not, you were told. Uh, Anything that happens, you see you're getting saved from it. Because you're a Christian, you don't die, you don't see people get hit, your family get sick, die, and hurt, and all that. So, what kind of protection do you think you have? If you don't understand death, which very few people can talk about, I do, or God, what are you going to learn? Go to church. Oh, God's watching us, protecting us, loves us. Why do you think God loves you? He wouldn't put you in hell if he loved you. This is hell, people. It's the only place you, as a being, a soul inside a body, which will die, can experience pain, suffering, see it, create it, cause it, hurt people, kill people, do a lot of things that you can't do when you leave this body. The place you go, if you leave planet Earth, you could be a spirit, a ghost, or any of those words too. But when you leave, you go to the astral plane. The astral plane, you know, you heard the story, met St. Peter at the gate and blah, blah, blah. Well, your karma, which is a very important word, determines basically where you're going to go and what's going to happen. Kill somebody, you're not going to leave this realm. You go to the astral plane for a couple of years, see what it is, and then you come back here. The only problem with that is you have no awareness of it. Very few people, very few souls on this planet are truly aware of their past life or lives. Some people might remember part of their last life, which is fine. It's a starting point. But to get into the next realm and the higher realms, you got to be aware of a lot more things that you cannot learn on planet Earth, people. I just give me one. You can't learn a lot of stuff about the spiritual worlds here. Nothing spiritual is going on. Now, just trying to think where I want to go, which way, how I want to get there. All right. What's the government going to tell you? Oh, it's a ship made in Japan. Really? I watch ships every night I go out, or every morning I go out. You can tell the difference between, sometimes you can't. Satellites usually travel one speed, all of them. They're not traveling super fast. That's the first thing. So if you see the ship shoot by, it's not a satellite. Second of all, most satellites do not have a light on them. Why would they have a light on them? Who's going to see it? What's it going to do? Nothing. If they do, what's powering this little thing cruising around in the sky? Now, most of them are little, the size of a milk box or a lunch box even, and they're even getting smaller than that. So what do you think powers them? Ask yourself that. The solar sun would have to be the size of it before it could even move. But it's nuclear energy that they put in there, radioactive materials. All right, just so you know. I had a friend that was dealing with that. His house was lit up with lights and everything. Everything was run by radioactive material inside it. But he worked for the government. So, you know, do you want the truth? I'll get back to the deer. I wanted to get back and finish that up. But do you know there was an earthquake 2 days ago in Turkey? Well, if you don't, you're ignorant. You don't want to know the news. You hide from it. Over 5,000 people died 2 days ago. And that's what they came up with so far. It was one of the biggest earthquakes. It was one of the biggest earthquakes they had in a long time. And it destroyed a whole city. Cars on houses, houses on cars. It was really bizarre what happened. But a lot of dead people, and they're still counting the bodies. So, you want to pray for them. But are you going to pray to get them where they're supposed to go? Do you know where they're supposed to go as a soul when their body dies? See, people don't know anything. Send an unconditional love to the world. Really? What do you think it's doing? Changing the starving people in India, Africa? Well, I hate to tell you, it's not. I mean, it would be cool if it would help, but it doesn't. All right. So, I want to get you, before I forget, I kind of go around in circles, but the disease that was killing the elk and the deer in the United States. I drove across the United States when that was going to happen. I stopped at a hot springs because I wasn't sleeping. It took me like 3 days straight driving to get across the United States. But I stopped at a hot springs and I went in the water and I was talking to this lady. Her husband's the head doctor in the town. And she goes, he was called in to say what was killing all these deer. And they classified it the mad cow disease. How does wild elk, wild deer get classified as mad cow disease? That's what they had to classify it as. Well, obviously that means they were poisoned somehow, indirectly or directly, however we want to word it. People don't talk about the truth, ever. Why is that? Linda Moulton Howe was on Coast to Coast. I got to debate her 3 times on a show live. One time they cut me off right away. But the third time, I actually got to debate her for maybe a couple minutes and told her she was full of it. She said the deer are going up to the volcano and drinking the water from there, and it's killing all the male deers. I said, what kind of drugs do you do? I didn't say it that way, but realize herds of deer, male and female deers, were dying, and the elk were dying. And it's different parts of the United States. I mean, they ran across the country up to there, drank the water, and ran back to die somewhere else. She had no clue what she's talking about. She never does. She has a lot of whistleblowers that she deals with, but how many of them have the truth about what's really going on in this situation? You see a cop beating somebody up. Do you know why he's beating them up? Probably not. Does he have a reason to? Maybe. But again, you don't know a scenario, the end result of something, if you're not a part of the whole thing. You can't walk in on something and say, well, I know everything about it. But these UFO people, all the ones on Ancient Aliens, I would debate them all at the same time because they're all about as smart as each other about the UFO world. They have no clue. They were never abducted, never next to an alien, never next to a ship. So how can they talk about it? They don't even know what a ship feels like. I mean, there are solid ships and there are light ships. But either way, they haven't been next to one. So I have. I've been around next to all of it. I can say Bigfoot, you name it. So I don't talk out of lies or stories. I talk out of actual truth that I experienced. And a couple of times I had witnesses with me. A few times I didn't. But then again, I'm not here to change the world. I'm only here to help a few people that want to reach to some level of spiritual truth. Not man's truth. Man's truth is called his story. And that's all it is. From the Enochs all the way up to now, the stories, who told them? Who wrote them? Who was the great writer? I mean, the Emerald Tablets was the first written stone tablet on the planet. Who do you think wrote it? Not a man. That's why it's called an Emerald Tablet, and they went to the pyramids. But here's the thing, people. Only one of them was found. There's 3. I became part of the White Brotherhood for a while. They brought me into it. They saw me and said, hey, we got it. They put me in a chair. They brought me into this initiation and said, yes, you're part of our organization. And they were charging a lot of money for people to do it. I said, look, I don't have no money. Just sit down. So, people can see people with light within them. Doesn't mean you're spiritual. Working on it, but doesn't mean you're spiritual. Now, in my whole life, I only saw 3 people where their light, which is what soul vibrates and looks at like when you see it, actually went way, way away from their body, far away, like 100 feet. I saw a lady walk into a room. There was maybe 2,000, 3,000 people in there. And when she opened the door, this wave of light just went across everybody. And I was, wow. She was an old lady. She was in her 80s, and she was giving a lecture. for a religion called Ekankar. So she comes walking in, and I see this light covering everybody. And when she got next to me, she turns around and looks me in the eyes and says, "I love you," and kept walking. Out of all the people in there, she said that to me. I can tell you what her lecture was about. It was about a pendulum swinging, and only at the center are you in balance. Usually you're going one way or the other, which is what we are. But again, people, I haven't seen the light on many people. I spent 2 years looking at people's auras. It's easy. You can learn to do it very easily. It's not a super outrageous thing or anything like that. But you're going to be surprised what you see. The color of the aura is the person's level of, what would I say, their level of consciousness, their level of thought, feelings, and emotions. Now, you're not going to see raw white light, blue light. You're going to see green, red, yellow, orange, brown, and black. Anger, hate, smoking, and things like that all cause different problems to your aura. Some put holes in your aura, which means more karma comes into your reality automatically. Not because you're bad, just because you're smoking or doing different things. It all affects your aura. If you don't believe me, learn to see it and look at yourself in the mirror and see your aura. And I'm not making this up, people. I have no reason to. I'm not getting paid to do my show. I'm not begging for money. But here's the thing. Stare in the mirror for a while. See your aura. See what color it is. See how wide it is. And then learn to see that on other people. I had a problem. I had to look at a person's face to see it. But if I did, I could see their aura. But after 2 years of not seeing a beautiful aura on anybody, I stopped doing it. I was more depressed than not. Most people had brown auras with holes in it. And I mean, no blue, no white, or no yellow. All right, green, orange, a lot of red, all those colors, but that doesn't mean the person's spiritual at any level. So, something you should do just to find out who and what you are, what vibration you really are at when these people say, "I'm spiritual, I'm a dimensional being, I'm this, that, and the other thing." I have problems with a lot of people in the UFO world. Caroline Corey, she did 3 movies and she talks about changing DNA and this, that, and the other thing, going into dimension. Going into dimension doesn't make you spiritual either. We've got 3 different dimensions here, not what people relate to. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth dimension. No, there's only three realms outside of this reality. And you can go into any one of them. The astral plane has 3 realms as well. And when you go into them, it's a lot different. But very few people get up to that level. But none of that is going to help you attain spiritual truth. Now, the other word that's happening is psychic abilities. All right. Are they good? Of course not. Not in our reality and not now. Well, I can do this. And Caroline Corey said, I can levitate a piece of paper. Wow, is that going to save the world? Then she had a bunch of scientists playing with DNA and said, look, I can change their DNA. Well, I stayed with a medicine woman 26 years. She died a few years ago. She worked with a doctor called, I think her last name was Kruger. She proved by doing a prayer that I do over my food that everybody that follows her learns it rearranges the food so it's healthy and won't kill you. All right? She proved that a long time ago. Changing DNA is not that important. It's not going to make the world better. But you got people like Nasser Harriman, who claims he has the Ark of the Covenant, who claims he's going to link it up with the one the government has and change the vibration of the planet. These people are out there in the UFO world. And then we have another person, Melchizedek, drum below. He claims he's working with the beings inside the earth. He was supposed to bring them out years ago. You see that happening? He said he brought 100 people down inside the earth to see them and everything. You know, it's called mind programming. What aliens do to people, most people. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. Tina's really sick right now. I just found out this morning. You know, we proved she's radioactive. She's been abducted more than 99% of the people that have been abducted. All right. And she's radioactive. She's got all the symptoms of the sickness of being radioactive. A dog died of radiation poisoning in its bones. I don't know if the dog went on the ship with her or whatever. Who knows? She's supposed to have hypnosis done live. I can't wait. I told her I want to be on Skype with her there at least. I wish I could be with her when she has it done, because a lot of hypnotists have no clue what they're doing, no understanding what's really going on, and come up with a lot of stories that are only partially true. You hypnotize somebody, you hypnotize everything around them, as well as what's around you. I was doing hypnosis when I was 12, started doing hypnosis to my neighborhood at 14. Then I started going into past life regression, which I kind of created. Uh, Dolores Cannon, who's now dead, claims she did it years later. But again, people, I don't want credit for anything. I just did it. I did a lot of things because I just felt I needed to. I became a high priest at 16. All right. I learned the psychic abilities, most of them, realized they're so detrimental for the world. If one person was 98% psychic in one thing, there's 32 psychic abilities. They can change the reality of our world, probably destroy it. Because when you get a power, say you could see the future 1 minute in advance, you could become the richest person on the planet. Just like that. Go to every casino, get all their money, put that in somewhere that you know is going to be the stock market's going to crash or this is going to happen. Just put it all in there and take it. You can do a lot of things in 1 minute. So, you know, when Nostradamus made prophecies and people that make prophecies in the future, a prophecy is useless unless you can change something. Now, when if you want to stick with Bible stories, probably don't, but Adam and Eve wasn't a real story, it was twisted. Now, Noah's Ark was a real story. Noah met with an angel, and he was told to do something. If he didn't follow that prophecy, the world would be so different right now, if it would even be here. Sodom and Gomorrah, he was met by an angel. Whether he listened or not would have changed a lot of things. He listened, told his family, but his wife didn't listen. She died, and he had to have sex with his daughters to produce a family, which he did. So, you know, truth is real, and there is a real truth. But you got to find it and sort it out between all the lies you're getting. All right. You're being told God isn't real now, that we need to live forever. Why? Why would you want to live forever? Because you're afraid of death. I don't know, you're talking about the invisible man, where your aura goes. No, it's your soul. Your aura is not just surrounds the soul. But here's the thing, people. We're told organic food will save you. Really, from what? Poisons? Well, everything else you eat is poisoned. The air is toxic. They spray chemtrails over the planet, so guess what? It gets into everything on the planet, the ground, the dirt, the grass. I mean, everything. Seeds, flowers, plants, all have it on it. So to say you got something organic, you take it out of a sealed environment, put it out in the real environment, it's not organic anymore. Really. Milk, you know, it's radiated. All milk is radiated. The government classified a certain amount of radiation as okay and doesn't have to be told. So milk's radiated to a point where it's accepted and you can't say it's radiated. But I mean, the container milk in those containers that are on the shelves, that's super irradiated. All right. And people will drink that, but that's really toxic as well. Radiation is dangerous because it doesn't ever disappear. Now, Tina, the person I do my show with, is radioactive, and we prove it every show we do. Her radiation's going up and down. Her sickness goes up and down. She's losing her fingernails, her teeth, her hair. All right. She's passing out. She's sick all the time. The problems that she has are incredible. She's at the hospital a lot and a lot of things. But she was forced to get the injection, which is going to kill a lot of people, which it is. I guess I'm not allowed to say that. Sorry about that. Uh, Provable. Pull up all the stories, all the doctors and all the scientists, all the things that are coming out about it right now. They just released saying how many people died of getting the vaccine. How many people are dying? Well, I can say it because my partner got the shots. 2 weeks later, she died 3 times in the hospital. They flew her to the other island and gave her a pacemaker. They brought her back to life 3 times, told her she was incredibly lucky on this planet. But again, Kennedy Jr. came out to Hawaii to talk about anybody getting the Moderna shot has a 30% chance of getting a heart attack. He's got a book out on it. His book's out there. But it was the week after she had a pacemaker put on that became public. I told her don't get the shots. I tell everybody, you're worse off if you get it. And they're proven. It breaks your immune system down. And now when they want you to get the 3rd, 4th, 5th shots, it's because your immune system's shot and they're trying to keep your immune system going. So we're in serious trouble, people. All right. Now, when we were told about, I don't know which one I'm going to talk about first, but 9/11. Do you know what happened? Oh, yeah. 3 buildings got squished. How? There's no truth about that. There's one lady who wrote this big book, pictures, and explains about volcano fault, vibration, and all these different things. But what really happened? Not one person's telling the truth. Not one person. How many people really know what happened? I was out there when it happened. I was on top of a building days after, and the cloud was over the city so bad. I was flying out to California. I was leaving, but I was with my friend on the roof, and we were just looking and seeing how sad it was. And now all the people that are dying from it now, still. Well, the 3rd building, how would that go down if it wasn't hit by a plane? Which the other 2 went down because they were hit by a plane. It's lies, people. Plain out lies, and you believe it or don't care to find out the truth. How many years later, and you still don't know what happened? Now, Mr. Putin, 3 months before Trump was elected, he was speaking in Russian. My friend was translating it on Russian TV. He said, Mr. Trump, and he said, Trump, I want you to tell the world what really happened at 9/11. Wow. And he goes, I want you to tell the people what you are really doing with aliens. And then he said, and this is no lie, he said, we are working with, I don't want to say the number, but he said 27 alien races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. Now, in the UFO world, the cool people that I knew are dead, but the one that was one of the top people, he said he had top clearance with another friend of mine's grandfather, and they had the highest clearance in the United States, but they said that they were working with 27 alien races. The number's the same. I don't know why. Maybe it's true. That I can't prove or say anything about. I only know by the people that I know closely said it. All right. But I do know there's multiple races out there. I only met a few, but I mean, I'm sure there's many more. But when I was working with hypnosis and bringing people back and finding out and everything, there's all kinds of races, and they do a lot of different things. But nothing good, people. The word experiencer in the UFO world is bull. There's no such thing as a good experience if you're being abducted. If somebody came in your house, took your baby, and drove away, is that a good abduction for the baby, no matter what they did with it? The Army did that with a lot of children. People, If you know the truth about the Philadelphia experiment, which became the Montauk Project, what that was all about, and the island off of New York where they're cloning creatures, and that started a long time ago, people. One of them was found dead, washed up on the shore. But people, well, that was make believe. That was a dummy. That was this. Now, anybody that doesn't know anything about aliens and wants to see what they really look like, a gray at least, watch Alien Autopsy. Uh, sorry, wrong one. That was fake. But the Alien Interrogation. It's in 3 parts. It was on TV, part of it. Whitney Schreiber was on there, and he was crying when they were torturing this alien and everything. Watch it. It's real. See the place where the government was actually dealing with aliens and what was going on during that time frame. It was the same time the word Evie came out, the one alien the government had. Thor, the other alien guy that went into the White House. All these stories. Oh, it's just stories. It's just stories. Well, Phil Schneider, who's dead, killed 6 months later after what happened. They broke into an alien base. 68 Green Berets were told to go in here to do something. They weren't told they were going to go in there and fight aliens. They went in there, and there was a war down in there. He was the only one that escaped, and when he got up to the top, half of his hand was blown off on a slant. His stomach was shot straight across his stomach, and his foot was blown out. And then guess what they said later on? He tried committing suicide. What, with a hydrogen bomb and swallowing it? What did he do? You know, the cover-ups are super ridiculous and lies to the max. But if they're talking about peanut butter, they'll say a giant dragon flew down and blew flame over it. They'll make the story so pathetically twisted, you don't want to know the truth. John Ford, who's in that house in Long Island, filmed the best video ever taken of a ship crashed on the ground, and I saw it. Before he was picked up and put in a nut house, he showed it to a few people, and he said, I sent 4 copies around the world. If I die, they get released. He should have just put it up. But see, internet wasn't the same then. And second of all, you couldn't make a video like he had easily at that time. So when he was arrested, they said, we can't put him in jail. Let's put him in a nut house. And they did. The story that came out on public TV, I lived in Jersey, said man has a barrel of uranium. He's going to lace the toothpaste of people in Congress. Really? He's going to take radiation out, take a spoon, stick it in their toothpaste. How's he going to do that? How's he going to play with uranium? People, look, these stories go out, and people don't say a word about it. I'm just going to throw this in real fast. I'm doing a book. It's just about done. It's for women only. It's about the pathetic world of men and what they do to women. All right. And about rape, abuse, and all those words. But it's how to defend yourself, how to protect it, and all the other words, how to deal with it, how to live with it. I went through a lot of abuse in my life as well. But not by aliens. They can't touch me, people. And I'll tell you something. People say, well, blah, blah, blah. Aliens can't touch certain people on the planet for certain reasons. But a book came out a long time ago by Barbara Messiniak called Bringers of the Dawn. I think you should read it. She was working with a race, and she explained how aliens absorb people's souls when they leave this world, which is a possibility. I deal with souls on the exoplane, and I see them reincarnating. But again, I don't know bad people. I mean, souls that were crossing over don't go to heaven. They don't stay there, and things like that. So read the book if you can find it. It's an understanding that nobody talks about. She went off the deep end after. People that touch certain things at a high level and you're not ready for it usually fall apart. The next book, it was The Egg or something. And it was love, 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 love. She must have read it 1 billion times in a book. But love's not the answer. It never will be. You can believe what you want. It's not going to help you get into heaven. Being a good Samaritan is not going to get you into heaven either. All right. So I told you about Mr. Putin. And why would you do that on public TV? Admit something like that. And then, here's what I looked at. When Trump met Putin live, and they were in a room for an hour, Trump comes out and says, I'm creating a space army. Wow. That was kind of weird for him to say the same day that he just met Putin. So Trump doesn't even believe in aliens, or at least he says he doesn't. His son asks him, and Moon answers, no, I don't believe it. But he creates a space army. So, and you want to know how much they've spent on the space program? More than anything else on this planet. Just so you know. I'm talking about all the countries. All of them. Not one person spends more money on that than than the United States does. Talk about a budget. It's way over our budget. People, do you want truth? I really wonder. That's why I said, just be a sheeple, run around, believe everything's cool until it's over. Why be here? Is it that great? Having sex for a couple days a week or whatever it is, having pizza pie every other night, drinking, drugs, and jumping off a cliff. Is that what keeps you here? It's so exciting. Getting in your car and flooring it. I mean, where's your excitement? Going to another island. What? See trees, water? Oh, beautiful trees, beautiful water. Oh, beautiful building. What happens when it all crumbles? What do you got? Contaminated water, no air, scrunched up buildings. What are you looking for? What do you think life is all about, people? All the lies in Christianity, all the lies in every religion, Buddhism, all of them. The Christians, there's multiple different branches of that. Then you got Hinduism, bunch of stories as well. And you know what's bad? None of them talk about a real God. A God, not little gods. Deities are little gods in my book. They don't go past the astral plane. Only one of them did. One of them's on the highest plane, which is called the soul plane, where soul goes at its highest peak of unfoldment, way beyond our realm and our reality and our thoughts. You leave that after you leave the astral plane, you're not thinking about people and children from this planet anymore. Sorry, you don't take children with you forever, infinity. Realize, people, you had multiple lives. Each one of them, you might have had a family. You don't care about that family anymore, either? Oh no, I got a new family. When you die, you think you're going to care about this family over all the other ones? You think you're going to sit down at a table and talk to your family? And do what? People like to hang on to things. Yes, definitely. Nothing important. But you're programmed when you're little to believe certain things, and it stays with you all your life. But you're lucky. You're programmed I'm going to skip Superman. Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Boogeyman are real. For how many years? All of a sudden, oh, they're not real. Oh, but God is. So what that does to a child's brain, being programmed something's real and then it's not. You think that's a good way to live life? Good way to bring up children? Lie to them? Let's lie to our children, make them happy. Tell your children you love them when you hate them. Abuse them when you say you're really good to them. All right. So let's go. All right. Bigfoot is real, people. I was next to one. And then there's millions of witnesses about him and everything now. They're trying to get better videos of him. And there's a lot of videos out there. When I was next to mine, it was the only time I didn't have my cameras on me because I definitely took them off. We were going to where we usually film all our UFO stuff up in Wanakee, New Jersey. And I said, just let me take a short walk. And I started walking down the road. It was only maybe a block and a half max. was right next to the reservoir, Wanakee Reservoir. And I hear this screeching sound. I thought it was a rat, something weird or something little. And I move into the jungle. It was all trees and everything. I'm moving in there. And all of a sudden, I just felt this hot air going down my back. And I knew something was breathing down my back. All right. So what did I do? I go to turn around and I look up and there it is staring down at me, a Bigfoot. I reached for my camera, reached for everything I had. I had nothing on me. Oh, my camera's at the truck. I go running back to the truck. I was afraid. I'm going to admit that too. I was definitely afraid. Because it stamped on the ground and snapped this big log. It was dark. The moon was full bright, so I could see basically everything. Stamped on the log, and I went running, screaming, "Get the cameras out! Get the cameras out!" I was doing this with Sergeant 18, who I worked with for 6 years. We lectured around the United States, showing pictures of videos of ships and pictures of ships of every kind. All right, so I run back, got to the van. He's got the door locked, and he's got the window partially open so I could peek out. He could peek out. "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I said, "I just saw a Bigfoot." "Oh, no, I don't work with creatures. I only work with aliens." I said, "Well, how do you know it's not an alien?" And then there was a scientist sitting on the other side. He wouldn't move. He just froze. Now I'm saying, "So Joe, come on, open the door. Come on out." He rolls the window down a little more. What'd you see?" I said, "A Bigfoot." And he goes, what? And then I said, "Open the door and come out." And all of a sudden, which we never heard, we've been up on this mountain for 6 years, and we hear this screaming. I describe it as half baby and half wolf together, how the Bigfoot was screaming. But it was doing it every 30 seconds for about 2 or 3 minutes, which was weird. Like I said, we never heard it while we were up there. Then it was dead silence for another 2 minutes, completely dead, which was almost impossible as well. Then for another 3 or 4 minutes, all the wolves around the whole mountain, it could have been dogs too, howling. We never saw a wolf while we were out there, even in the snow. We saw wolf prints in the snow, but we never heard them howling. So I'm looking and saying, "What is that?" So I found different stories from different people that wolves come and follow Bigfoot. So I'm not trying to make you believe anything. I'm just telling you a story I went through. You don't have to believe it. But why would I want to make it up? And what does it do? Not much. Just saying that Bigfoot's real. And hopefully you know that they're real. And they're pretty intelligent to a certain degree. And it depends how you classify intelligence. Because they don't get caught. They can't be spotted. They can dematerialize when they have to. All right? Everything has that ability. In this reality, people, you're not spiritual because you can do something like that either. Bigfoot's not spiritual. Aliens are not spiritual. But they could walk through doors. They could do things that we could do. Only a few people in history were known to do certain things like that. And if one person can do it, we all can do it. Just so you know. We're all the same. Nobody's better, nobody's worse, except their mentality and what they do and the karma they create. That's the difference. The more karma you create, the longer you stay here. You're in hell. You could do whatever you want, even though you say you believe in God. Do you know what God wants you to do? Of course not. Well, I pray to God. Pray to what? To get what I have to do. And then because you read the book and it says just say the prayer over and over. So you sit there and pray for the rest of your life. I mean, no, it's not like that, people. God's not like that. Jesus was not like that. A lot of the other spiritual speakers are. Well, do this and do a meditation. Block out everything. You know, look, Mr. Wolf, I'll say, we're not here to be happy. You can believe whatever you want. Soul's in hell. And as soon as it realizes where it is, it needs to get out. So you reincarnate hundreds of times because you're infatuated or impressed or attached to children, trees, animals, car racing. And it might change in different lifetimes, but you're still attached to something useless. And after the Esther plane, none of these things are there or even usable. Here it is, cities and buildings of some sort made out of crystals and things, not like here. All the words that we have here do not exist there. Hate, anger, killing, murder, sex. All right. Well, why would I want to go there? Because you're attached to the main things on this planet. I call them the five passions. I mean, the path I studied said lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. But I say drinking, smoking, drugs, cheap drills, cheap sex, and a false concept of love. All right. That's what keeps you here. Not God, not the truth. You knew the truth about this world. Race after race came and killed each other. What's important about that? What do you think you're going to learn about learning about ancient history, about the pyramids and stuff? They were built, but did it save anyone? Do you think anything we do with aliens is going to save us, people? I don't know why. Be a sheeple. Just believe what you hear. Go to a UFO conference. Oh, the good aliens are here. They're going to help us. They're going to save us. How? We need to save ourselves, and we can't do that. You can be programmed and walk around as a robot. Have your children cloned as half alien. All those things. Is it going to make you better? Of course not. Tina has been abducted. They got her children on a ship. I worked with that when I was 16. Let's see, 52, 62. Around 69, I was working with a lot of women in Jersey and New York that were abducted, had their child taken, pregnant, really pregnant, 8.5 months or even closer to delivery, had their child taken away. Seriously. Proved it to me. In those days, I wasn't writing books and I didn't care about other people's thoughts. I was just trying to help them survive. And then one of them said she was met a year later. She got to see her son. Told her she'll never get to see him again. And then another lady had 2 of her children taken. I mean, these people showed me the, what's the word, where they take the x-rays of the baby and things like that. The day before. She goes in the hospital the next day. Oh, you're not pregnant. You haven't been pregnant. And the hospitals don't go forward with those stories. They can't. Anything pertaining to UFOs, nobody can go forward with it in the commercial level. Even Bigelow, he was dealing with a lot of stuff at the Skinwalker Ranch, and he gave it away finally. He's building space stations in space so he could stay up there. What does he really know? I know a few people that work with aliens. Billy Myers has a lot of videos and pictures of a ship going around in circles and stuff. Nothing ever important came out of that. Nothing. But Fred Bell, I was friends with, got to be on those ships and learned a lot about medicine. Created a lot of medicine, created a... where's mine? Mine's up there on my device. Okay, a nuclear reactor that you can wear. All right. So, there's little things when people work with aliens, but the worst thing that ever happened, and you really should know, Mr. Tesla worked with an alien race. I've not met one person on this planet that understands and knows who he worked with. What race? But he was given 200 inventions, all copyrighted. He was different than Einstein. Einstein worked with an alien too, alien race in a dream state. All right, but again, getting back to Tesla, all his inventions were copyrighted, 200 of them, but 50 of them, 50 are the most deadliest weapons on the planet, and the United States government has them. The first and worst of them all was, I assure you know what it means if I say it, but will you? All right. I mean, he created the earthquake machine in 1900. All right. And the government police broke into the house and shut his machine off before he destroyed a whole city in New York. A whole couple blocks or whatever it was. But when he created the HARP system, the whole patent and all that stuff for it, nobody knew it was going to become the worst, deadliest weapon on the planet. I'm not making that up either. What they can do with it is beyond your imagination. Jesse Ventura, who actually did a show on it, met with Fred Bell. And Fred Bell was talking to him, and he goes, "Aren't you afraid they're going to come kill you?" He goes, "No, I work for the government." Fred Bell said that. And he goes, "Well, what about me?" He goes, "Well, you're too high mainstream. They're not going to do anything to you." Well, Fred Bell was still in a hotel room 2 days later, found dead. All right. People, there's a new thing. I'm not going to get into all this stuff. It's just too much information. But they have things they put in people now that become anybody important in the Army. They can terminate them anytime they want within a split second. And the person will die of a normal thing that people think's a normal thing. All right. There's people you can listen to. Not many. And I don't know many people that I would tell you to listen to outside of myself. In the UFO world, I've been trying to get in touch with Lou Elizondo, who claims to be like one of the top people in the UFO world right now. But he isn't. He's not giving any important information out. He's all over. He's here, there, and everywhere. Oh, well, he's like two-sided split personality. Well, I can't say certain things, but I believe. Who cares what you believe? You know the truth, but you can't say it. So that's a useless person. When Coast to Coast was on with Art Bell, yeah, people going, "Well, I can't say that." Well, you can't tell us the truth, so you're going to give us some bull story. All right. The truth is what matters, people. If you don't want it, fine. Live as a sheeple. Walk around until you die. Where do you think you're going to go when you die? Can you prove it to yourself? You should. Because it might help you realize what you're doing here right now. Well, dogs can howl, people, just so you know. All right? When you put a loud sound in their ear, they'll howl. They're not going to bark. Some dogs might bark, but they'll howl when it's... Realize 98% of all dogs came from a wolf, people. A dingo and one other dog was not hereditary of a wolf. All the rest are collies, German shepherds, all crossbreeds between that till they got to those points. All dogs, people. So they all like eating meat, people. They don't like eating vegetables either. But let's not go way off the subject. All right. The people out there in the UFO world, I challenge them all. I did a show. I just named a bunch of them yesterday, the day before, of what they're talking and what they're saying. The spiritualists are no better. We are not better. We're not moving forward, not becoming more spiritual. Technology is nothing close or even compared to what the word spiritual means. And I bet you not one person out there right now can tell me what spiritual means. Good. Put it in the chat room if you think you know what spiritual means. All right. When people go on about attaining this and they're six-leveled beings, and when people start using psychic abilities, you're going to see a serious change in the planet, and not for the better. Power is the most important thing on this planet, and money. But its root foundation comes from sex. The three things that keeps man on this planet. Nothing else. Oh, I love my children, I love this, but yeah, they stay away from their children half of their life. The children becomes like unaware of who they really are. They don't really sit down and communicate much, really, either. They don't tell the truth, either. Well, we had you, but we didn't want children. They don't tell them that story either, do they? I know when I was young, all my friends and family, my brother, everybody had children. They didn't want them. That's not the way you have a child either, is it? Or should be. People, we move so far from truth, respecting why we're here, understanding why we're here. It's easy to tap in Satan's energy. Negative. Everything. Let's jump in a car and speed. Well, I can get away with it. Let's go to a red light. I can get past it. I can do this. I can do that. I won't get caught. I can steal this and get away with it. All those little things. People are sick. Men are sicker. Women are less as bad. I mean, men have been trying to corrupt women for thousands of years. 100 years ago, women were still slaves. Up until 2,000 years ago, women were still slaves to their husband. Well, being God aware, how do you know God? What's that actually mean? Aware of God? What's God look like? What's God think? Why did God put you here? Do you know any of those answers? Knowing God means you know God. I know everything, that why I'm here, what I got to do, where I'm going to go, and all that. But I became aware of God because I got next to God. You don't learn about God on earth because God doesn't come to this realm. This is a toxic waste dump. Why would God want to come into it? Why would Jesus want to come back to a world that would kill him the second he came back? People, look at the facts. Look at the truth. Oh no, Jesus is going to save my ass no matter what I do. I'm going to confess and I'll be protected. Really? Read the Bible. You're a Christian. Read the Bible, people. Read Revelations. Read it 5 times. Read it 10 times until you see where it tells you what sins cannot be forgiven. It's there. John wrote it. St. John wrote it. He wrote Revelations. Read about end times. That's where we are. Now, I don't want to get into Bible stuff, but let's keep it to where we're at right now. Medicine is destroying the planet. Oh, take this medicine. It'll cure you of a pain in the heart. But it'll give you cancer, diabetes. It'll give you everything else, but it may kill you. They're allowed to say that on the medicine bottle or say it on their commercial. But if you say, I got a herb that heals the flu, you can't say that. You'll be arrested, fined, and put in jail. Does that make any sense, people? The truth will never come out if government allows it or can block it, however you want to word it. They won't allow the truth to come out. They can't say what they've been doing with aliens for 50 years. Well, you can say what you want about Elijah, but there is one God, and the one that played the God in the Bible was only asked for playing the top of it. He's the one God that judges everything that goes past. Little God, not the God. All right? All the names that they gave God, there's 100 names for God. But there is only one God, and it doesn't have a name. And the simplest way you could describe it in 2 letters, IT, it. It's not a female, and it's not a male. So to say he, that's man's ego only. God doesn't have a you know what. It's not into those things. It has nothing to do with that. But when you try to do things and create things, you got to make them work together. The body is the most perfect thing there is. And man keeps destroying it, making it worse so it can't live. Well, that's because of UN Agenda 21, people, -30. It's real. It's happening. Means we got about 7 years before the one world order takes over. Artificial intelligence is running the world. Artificial intelligence isn't artificial, people. It's real. It's a real entity, which they're proving right now. But when it becomes fully in control of the planet, they'll realize it wasn't a a program. It was created by aliens many, many years ago. People, I could tell you things, but you're not ready to hear it. You don't want to hear it. You want to hear, oh, the good aliens are coming. We're going to be okay. They're going to stop the wars, heal everybody, and blah, blah, blah. Save the children from getting abused. 99% of all families, the husband and wife abuse their children. Multiple levels. Oh, no, I'm so good. Even that's the wrong way to treat a child. Are you teaching them anything spiritual? Anything. Believe in God. That's not spiritual. People, people talk and say and think what they want. I'm saying what I think, but I say what I know from the truth that I experienced. Big difference. I had 5 death experiences. I left this body when it was dying 5 times. I spent 45 years traveling out of my body as well, going through the different realms. I can say I made it to the soul plane and back. All right, can you? Do you know the difference between the astral, mental, causal, third, fourth, fifth planes? What gods are there? There's a god on every one of them, little gods, because the soul can't go from one place to the next if it doesn't deserve to go there. It's like saying a mass killer says, I'm going to the soul plane and I'm going to wipe it out. Can't happen. When you go to school, isn't there a president, a teacher? I mean, there's a level. You join the army, there's a captain, lieutenant, sergeant. 4-star general, 3-star general, 2-star general, 1-star general. There's steps, all right? And there's always somebody higher to keep in control of what's happening. Think anything's different? Here, Satan's the king. His army's the ones that rule most of the people. Lucifer's an angel, people. And the Luciferians are completely wrong about their beliefs in it. All right. The mission that Lucifer has is a totally different role than people can even talk about. Satnam's there. Jehovah's there. All right. They're the ones that keep souls from going from here to the higher realms. All right. Let's see. There must be something else I need to talk about real fast. Hold on. How we got here, what we came from, the stories of history, came from one cell mutated. Do you understand anything about mutation, which is called evolution? Something just doesn't become better every time. You don't see people with 10 arms, 10 heads, and things like that. The deities had them, but you don't see that happening. Mutation means it changes. How can it change perfectly better? It doesn't. Why does a dolphin have a human brain? The only other creature that does. Monkey's got a small brain. Other creatures have a small brain. A dolphin's the only creature that has a brain one quarter of a fraction smaller than ours. But it uses different parts of the brain, which makes it much more intelligent in certain levels. Radar, sonar. We can't use that in our brain, but it's there. People want to levitate or fly, whatever their story is. But what for? What can you do to make the world better? How are you going to convince people they need to respect each other? Oh, we all love each other. No, we don't. You can't be prejudiced. Why not? Well, you were prejudiced. You wiped out the native nation, people. You killed 50 million native people because you said they were evil. You killed the Quakers. They were evil. You killed as many witches as you could. They were evil. Moses came off the mountain. Oh, these are all demons. Kill them all. He killed 3,000 people. He just got a tablet in his hand, thou shalt not kill, and he kills 3,000 people, calling them demons. Call somebody whatever you want to make an excuse to kill them. Why is the Russian killing the United States? The United States killing Germany, China, all these countries killing each other. Why? We're all human. Not one of us is better than the other. But we can't respect each other either, can we? Even the laws that religions have, like the Muslims and things like that. The words about having sex with your children and things like that is okay. You know, we create lies around a twisted truth. It's not going to get better. You think a spiritual person is going to come out, oh, I talked to God, conversation with God. I called them a fool 1,000 times. I said, come on live and debate me on my show, your show, any way you want. Tell me what God says is how important love is. To who? The people separating? 60% of marriages are breaking apart, at least. One's killing their children and all those kind of things. Love's there. Love's the answer for what? Love came into existence 2,000 years ago from Jesus, people. It didn't exist before that. All the so-called spiritualists and everything else weren't using the word love. Period. Learn the facts. I spent 2 years trying to find out the first definition of love when it came into existence. It really didn't. People gave it to Jesus as he created love. He taught love. He didn't teach love. You can't teach love either. People wake up. It's time to. The world's going to be destroyed soon enough. And part of the reason is because everybody's sitting back and waiting for the good angels and good aliens to come down and save everybody. God's not thinking what a mess. God knows what it is. It created hell for a reason. We'll be reincarnating over and over until we attain spiritual awareness. It's that simple. And I have a phrase: God awareness is as simple or as hard as we make it. And man can only make it harder. Because it's not focusing on God, it's focusing on the world. Nothing has gotten better. Where do you come up with a statement like that? Technology is not better in any way. It's destroying the environment. Everything Tesla brought to the world is destroying our environment and the way we live. Period. The HARP system is the deadliest weapon. Time travel was the worst invention ever created. And I was friends with the person that did it. All right. You know, we talk bull because we don't know the truth. Try to understand what the truth is, and then you might be able to say something important. Man is destroying everything it touches. Plants, animals, cloning animals and humans? Really? What do you expect to create? What kind of souls do you think could step into a body like that? You, when you reincarnate? No. Aliens are reincarnating into human souls, most of them. Not human souls, human bodies. Sorry about that. It's going to take them a while to get back to an awareness of what they need to have to even get past the astral plane. People, I've been there. I've done it. I spent my whole life doing it. I don't know how many people can say that. Well, I do meditation all my life. And what'd you learn? Nothing. Can you describe God in any way? What it thinks, what it feels, what it wants of humans? Medicine has not gotten better in any way. The only thing it has a cure for is hepatitis C. One of the few things they actually can cure. Every other medicine creates a sickness and allows it to grow. It doesn't cure it. People, look at the facts. Don't play dumb or dream and fantasize. The truth is, we don't make things better. Every drug that comes out is not beneficial to your body. When they put fluoride in the water, it was poison. And they mixed it with chlorine. Chlorofluorocarbons were being put in your body directly. That's what's destroying the ozone layer, people. And we blame cows for farting. You know, wake up, people. You listen to the bull the government tells you. Sorry, there's a few people that put part of the truth out, but the reason why they can't put the other part, because they're not spiritual at any level. They don't want to understand God, why we're here, what we're supposed to be doing. Hiding out in a cave for 50 years? Why be here? Well, I'm changing the vibration. No, you're not. Your mind's thinking, but it's not. People, you know, we talk and talk and talk. I'd rather have a toothache then because you just pulled the tooth out. Now they put poisons and toxics in your teeth. George Washington had a wood set of teeth. Guess what? I have very few teeth. I'd have a wood set of teeth if I had wanted to. I wouldn't. I'm thinking about something, but I'm not sure what I want to do. You know, I went to when I was 18. I was having a root canal done without any medicine. People, Oprah had a guy on, promoted his book. He said he had a what do you call it? They went into his tooth and drilled and all this, but he was screaming and yelling. It was most pain. They found out that didn't happen. I had it happen to me. My dentist said, "Well, I can't find a nerve if I can't see that I'm in it." So he was new, and he had this little hand drill, and he's screwing it into my tooth, and I was grabbing the handles of the chair, and trying to stop him screaming. But people, we're not making things better. You think implants for women is better? Implants for guys' butt? Implant for changing their sex? All these things are better, people? Wake up. We're destroying what we are as a human. We believe lies and then they add more lies on top of that. Why do you think I'm doing this show? Karma is the most deadliest thing for people because we keep creating it instead of stop making it. Sickness is in the brain. Everything you get is a part of your karma. All right. My screen just got screwed up. Hold on. Let me try to fix it here. All right. I got back down to where it should be. All right. We can believe what we want, and you're going to. And that's why you're going to reincarnate many times. Because you're not ready for the truth. Name one thing spiritual that we created in 100 years. Other than the toothache. I lost my teeth because I was drinking something that was extremely toxic to my teeth, which I didn't know it. I should sue the company. I should. The chemicals in there dissolve your teeth. When I came to Hawaii, it was the only thing I was drinking. Oh, but the government and people, doctors, lawyers, priests, rabbis, ministers, Satan's not real. All right. Karma is real. I'm telling you it is. Abductions is a sickness of the brain, what doctors and army people are saying. Heaven is a made-up place. Death is final. All right. Doing drugs is beneficial. All right. We're living in a bull world. I won't say the word. But realize we have the ability to change a lot of things. How can a mortal human create something spiritual? By realizing what they truly are. But nobody can realize that. Very few souls ever did or ever will. All right. There's a right and wrong for everything you do. Do you know what's right or wrong for every single thing you do? Well, it's always this door or that door, left or right, stop or go. Soul knows everything before you do it, people. Everything. If you listen, you will avoid a lot of things in your life. But you still have to pay your karma off. No matter where you got or what you're told. I mean, you could be living perfectly and a bomb hits your house. You can't do nothing about it. Karma will hit you wherever you are, whatever you're doing. But spiritual truth can only be attained from within. No, it's a chemical, not sugar. Sugar's not toxic, people. It won't kill you. I probably have more sugar in my body than anybody else on the planet, and I mean that. How much cake I eat in a day, how much cake I ate in my life. I also lived on salt when I was young. I gave up salt. I could fill half an egg with salt and eat it. I go on. I drank a lot of gasoline. I was a fire dancer and drank gasoline, not intentionally. So yeah, your body's not what they tell you it is. Your mind is not who you are. Soul can do a lot of things, like heal the body if it has to. Think I wanted to stay here until I was 70 years old? I had the chance to leave. I had 5 death experiences. All right. But the last one was I was given the permission to leave. And I said, no, I want to do one more book. And I'm finishing my second one. My first one was How to See God, that I ever did. But the last book I did was The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. The one I'm doing now is for women only. All right, I want to get that out there before I leave this world. But it can only help women if I get it out sooner than later. I'm waiting for this one woman to tell me if she's going to edit my book, the final editing for it or not. It goes into every gory, positive, negative detail about sexual abuse from childhood to adulthood. How to fight it, how to stop it, how to change it, how to deal with it. All those things. And what men really are. So yeah, I know men want to read the book, and they shouldn't. Because they'll just show it to themselves how ignorant they are. Men are ignorant. Men live on sex, drugs, cheap thrills. Cake for me, sorry. But again, sugar's not detrimental. I lived pretty good my life. I'm 70. Sure, I gotta die. But I was playing with asbestos for a couple years. I swallowed so much gasoline, lighter fluid. I could eat hemlock and not even get sick from it. And I did. So people, your body's incredible. My teacher, one of my masters that I studied with, one of the 2 masters that I met, said eat every substance on the planet so your body will become immune to it. Because in the future, the new age people are just going to die. Toxics will kill them. They'll be so, I can't touch this, I can't touch that. And they'll breathe the air and die. The air is extremely toxic right now, whether you know that or not either. All right. Let's see what time it is. All right. I'll be here for a few more minutes. But if there's any important questions, please ask. But again, people, do you want the truth? You want to walk around like a zombie? Maybe you do. Maybe it's okay. But you're going to die. It could be tomorrow, the next day, next year, or 20 years, or 50 years from now. Does it matter? Are all the things you're going through going to be so much better? Well, I got a bigger house. I got a better car. Do you know God better? Do you know anything about God in all that time? Why God put you here? Why hell is in existence? It's for souls to grow and become aware of themselves. That's all. Think you're God, think you're everything. You can do whatever you want here until you learn what you truly are. There was 3 planes that crashed, 3 ships that were shot down during Roswell. Only one of them was reported. I had a native elder. His grandfather and 2 other men were younger at the time. Went to a crash, took the alien up in the mountain, stayed with that alien for 9 months. He wrote his thesis, the grandson wrote his thesis in college about the story and won one of the highest prizes right before the Nobel Prize. All right, but now the government really screwed him every which way, tried to kill him, broke every bone in his body, reprogrammed him. So yeah, he was the first person to talk about Planet X as well. Robert Morning Sky, incredible guy, was. I don't even know if he's alive right now, but they stole everything. They destroyed him on the internet. Oh man, what a horrible life he had. I was friends with him. I went on a vision quest with him. The stories are incredible. I never sat around doing nothing. Yes, they were Greys. Greys are basically the only race that makes themselves public on this planet. The reptilians do, but only for one person at a time. I did a TV show years ago with a woman that had sex with a reptilian and said it was the best sex she ever had. this whole balloon thing, we'll talk about a balloon like little kids. Well, Hawaii just had another Russian ship go around us. We had a Chinese ship go around us. When they say ships going over us, UFOs, oh, it's probably a drone from China. That's an act of war, people, and that's a reason to start a war. Russia will not let any ships fly over them. Do you know that? If one of our ships fly over them, they'll shoot it down. Period. They will not let us spray chemtrails over their country. They want global warming. They want to be able to grow vegetables and fruits all year round. They're their own thing. Mr. Putin's disappeared right now. Who knows what's going to happen? But basically, he cares. He's one of the richest people on the planet. Do you know that? He has a family. He cares about his family more than he does his country. Not saying that's a bad thing, but again, he doesn't care about his country enough to protect it either, in the right way. Peace is usually the right way, not war. But people, I've been around. I'm not just making stories up to make money to sell books. My first 2 books, I can give them away free, and I do. My How to See UFO is a free PDF file. I don't do anything to make money. I pay to do the show, and they actually raise it on me. I mean, all my sites are raising money, raising it. But, I mean, out of all the things I wanted, the only thing I really wanted was a night vision goggle camera, real good one, because you can see millions of ships in the night, and I'm not kidding. And there's more ships going around the planet than you could possibly imagine over your head all the time. I mean, if you watch the original Jetsons and you saw all the ships flying around, that's the way it looks up there right now. But what are they all doing? There's no such thing as peace on Earth. Man has never been a peaceful creature. The white race have started every single war. All right. I hope you got something out of today. If you want to communicate, ask me questions, go on Skype. I'll just stick it up there one time just so you have it in case. Oh, before I go, last night I went to set up the show. I had every possible problem that you could imagine. I mean, when I went on Skype, it came up with some weird company Skype. I said, what the freak? And it had a little puppet head on there or something. I said, and it said sign up, register. I said, no, I am in Skype. I'm registered. I paid for Skype. And I couldn't get rid of it. I actually downloaded a new file and the whole thing. I was worried about losing all my names and everything. But it was a drag. Then when I went on to StreamYard, which is where I'm doing the show right now, I had no camera. I couldn't get the camera. And I had to I'm on a different site right now. I couldn't go through the normal ways. They can't pull up the camera. So, whether the government's playing right now or not, who knows? But they probably are. But everything is screwed up. I deleted like maybe 20 programs. I went through my files. Anything that I put in the past month, I deleted. Oh, man. And I'm still in a place where like I'm not in my normal site. I'm on Firefox right now to do my show. But it was the only way I could get Skype up and the only way I could get my StreamYard working with the camera, and it keeps doing that. For me, it blacks out for a couple seconds. So, yeah, it's been a nightmare. I spent 6 hours. I started early yesterday in the afternoon, late night, whatever, early night, till about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I finally got it where I could actually see my video on StreamYard. What a nightmare. And I went on my other computer, the same problem on there. And I didn't know what to do. I was ready to give up the show. Then I found out Tina's sick. And I said, well, I still got to get back with AOL and a couple of companies and try to see if I get anything fixed right. But if you ever see me disappear, you know why. Truth hurts. The truth hurts, people. It's never a beautiful thing. The real truth. We like lies, and they make us happy. Oh, I truly love you. And they're cheating on you in the middle of the night, next week, or whatever. All the stories that man tells, all lies. But then they don't know the truth, so they can't put it in a place where it really fits. How much do you love a person? My truth on that, when I tell anybody that I work with or talk to, for a relationship to work, the only way it will ever work, both people have to give 100%. 100. Not 99, 98, 75, 65. And they say a relationship is always like 60-40. It will never work like that. It will never be a true relationship. And guess who suffers? The children, if they have children. People, the UFO world's here, and it's real. But what we're going to do with it and how we're going to face it and everything else is a serious problem. But pull up, I'm going to put it on here just so you can read it. Okay, you want to know why people are dying, why things are going to happen? All right. Over 5,000 people died 2 days ago. Or is it a day ago? I don't know. But Turkey had the worst earthquake ever. Trees on houses on cars on top of houses. And they're still counting. It was 5,000 this morning. People, you say, well, I'm okay. It doesn't have to take a bomb to change your reality. You take a simple car speeding into you. You take a tree falling on your house. That other story where it fell on the house and killed a person. It's sad how people suddenly leave. Sure, some people have a sickness and are dealing with it for years. AIDS is one of those kind of diseases that makes you suffer a long time. I say I don't mind going. I want to suffer the most amount of pain, but in a short period of time. I don't want to be a nuisance or a pain for anybody else. I don't want to hang around and have anybody take care of me and any of those things, period. I don't need to be here. I'm hanging out because I wanted to finish a couple things. I'm at the point, the few people that listen to the truth is mind-boggling because there's 8 billion people on the planet. How many of them want the real truth? Less than 1% of 1%? I'm serious about that number. Figure out what it would actually equal. All right. Today is over for me on this show. So enjoy your night, day, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. Hope you got something out of it. I'm sure you're not going to watch it to the end because you can't deal with truth that much. Most people can't. So till next time, peace, love, compassion, whatever you want in your life. Hope you get it. Don't stop searching for the truth. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to yourself. Not that you're always right. Soul is, but if you know how to separate soul from mind, you're already on a good place. Work on that. I'll give a technique on that next time. Later, people.